Welcome back to 64-Bit Blackness, the show where we give a much-needed spotlight on some of our favorite black video game characters. And today we're talking about none other than the warrior of Wing Chun in New York, Leroy Smith from Tekken. Leroy's story starts in New York, I think around maybe the late 70s or the early 80s. The specific time period is very hard to pin down because the Tekken timeline is weird as hell, but Leroy grew up around this era. Now, I do need to brush up on my history, but if I recall, the 70s in New York were a very tumultuous time. Buildings were being burned down. Unemployment, crime, and poverty became the staple for a bit, and I think this was the product of white flight happening around that time. And this is the kind of environment that Leroy Smith grew up in. And in the area that Leroy Smith was raised in, there was a large amount of violent gang activity. So much so that he lost his entire family to gang violence. During the event that would cause him to lose his family, Leroy was severely injured and ended up falling into a river and just drifting away at sea. Lucky enough for Leroy, a passing trade ship saw his body floating in the water and got him out of there. And when he awoke, he was on this vessel and he was made a part of this crew. He worked as a trader on this vessel, and this allowed him to travel all over the world and see so many different facets of life. But everything changed when they got to Hong Kong, because there Leroy saw the art of Wing Chun and he felt some kind of connection to this. He felt as if this was something he wanted to invest into. So he stayed in China and studied Wing Chun. So he was there for 50 years, half a century, turning his body into a weapon to administer all kinds of Wing Chun punishment. But I think it was also like a thing that helped him keep his mind at ease. But eventually he had caught wind that the same gang that murdered his family was still in New York, terrorizing folk. So Leroy gets on the first plane he could and goes back to New York to get revenge on the gang that killed his family, as well as liberate New York from these violent criminals. And he did that shit. He did it in a single day. He struck fast and hard, single-handedly destroying the gang's influence over the entire city of New York. And even though he stopped the gang, there was still one question bubbling in the back of his head. Why did they kill his family? Why did they take over New York? Why did they do any of this? And upon interrogating some of the gang members whose asses he just whooped, he discovered that the Mishima Zaibatsu is the one that orchestrated the entire plot 50 years ago. Mind you, at this time, the Mishima Zaibatsu has already started a world war. They've already went ahead and engaged in several illegal arms deals across the world. These are objectively the bad guys. So after learning this information that one of the most evil corporations in the world was also responsible for destroying his entire city and family, he sets out on a quest of revenge and to bring Heihachi Mishima and the Mishima Zaibatsu to justice. But to do this, Leroy has to join the Iron Fist tournament. And when he joins this tournament, he doesn't even get the chance to fight Heihachi because he goes missing. But he does end up whooping the ass of one Fang Wei. Now, Leroy doesn't ever really get the chance to fight Heihachi, but he is still instrumental in bringing down the Mishima Zaibatsu. And the only reason I say this is because of his influence on Jin. During Tekken 8, Jin and Leroy have to have a fight in which Leroy tries to test Jin's mettle, making sure that Jin is able to control himself and his powers and understand why he's doing what he's doing and not just acting out of a lust for revenge and violence. Keeping that mental channel open so that Jin can keep himself in check and make sure he's doing things for the right reason, lest he be like his father and grandfather. And that's a mindset that Leroy takes very seriously, even applying it to himself. Fun fact, the symbol on the back of his robe translates to temperance, and it serves as a reminder for him to also keep himself in check. So despite being this battle-hardened master of Wing Chun, Leroy tries to operate more as a human than just a vessel of destruction, which explains why he has this cute-ass dog named Sugar. Animals don't like evil people. Remember